the flow state where there is a sense of fluidity between your body and mind. Time feels like it has slowed down. Some people describe this feeling as being in the zone, and it is a wonderful place to be in. Now, entering into the flow state does not happen by chance. It is a result of being unconsciously competent. Hello, my name is Gagandeep Kaur, and today I want to share with you all the secret to unconscious competence. But let's first understand what is unconscious competence. It is when we perform a skill on autopilot without consciously thinking about it. For an example, if you have been driving for quite some time now, you may have experienced reaching to your destination but not quite remembering crossing that flyover or driving past that post office. Why? Because you were thinking something else while driving and you drove on autopilot. Unconscious competence is that autopilot mode. It is effortless. It is like a second nature. Now, the unconscious competence is not just for the skills that we perform manually, but it is for life skills as well. We can become unconsciously competent at having more patience, being more resilient, having growth mindset, and so on. The list is inexhaustible. The beauty of being unconsciously competent is that we experience magical moments because we feel intuitive, creative, and we tend to think outside the box. Now, how can we become more unconsciously competent? The one and only answer to that is practice. Practice is the repetition of an action with the goal of improvement. Science tells us that effective practice increases the speed by which our brain communicates with our muscles, which is believed to be the reason behind unconscious competence. The legendary martial artist Bruce Lee fully understood the power of unconscious competence, which is why he said that he fears not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but he fears the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. Now, talking about practice is majorly the reason behind unconscious competence, but there is something more to that. There are quite a few stages that cannot be skipped if we are trying to become unconsciously competent. The very first stage is called unconscious incompetence. It is where we do not know what we do not know. So we must first figure out what is that we want to master. Is that playing a piano, riding a bike, or being more emotionally intelligent, being resilient? It can be anything. Once we have figured that out, we reach to the second stage, which is called conscious incompetence, where we know what we do not know. Now, the third stage is called conscious competence. This is where we start learning new skills, new behaviors, and put them in use. At this stage, we are very conscious at every step. For an example, when you start learning driving, you perform each step consciously one after another. So this stage requires a lot of attention, a lot of concentration because the skill has not yet become automatic. But after this stage, the magic happens. When we effectively do the repetitions of the skill that we want to master, we reach to the final stage, which is called unconscious competence. So effective practice is what takes us to the magic world of unconscious competence. Now, can we only practice physically? Of course not. There is a thing called practicing in mind or visualization, which is now fully backed up by science and recognized by the researchers at University of California, Los Angeles. Visualization is the practice of repeatedly imagining what we want to achieve in order to create it or master it. It is the method used by 23-time gold medalist Michael Phelps, Phenom Katie Ledecky, and the business titans like Oprah Winfrey, Sarah Blakely. It is a bit surprising, but a number of researchers say that once a physical motion has been established, it can be reinforced just by imagining it. In one study, 144 basketball players were divided in two different groups. Group A practiced physically, while Group B only practiced mentally. After 2 weeks at the end of the experiment, when both the groups were tested, it was found that both the groups had improved by nearly the same amount. That's how effective visualization is. If you want to master unconscious competence in any skill you like, Make visualization the part of your practice routine, and it will surely expedite the process of you becoming unconsciously competent. When we perform any skill with unconscious competence, we perform it with best of our abilities and ease. You know, in my late adolescence, I used to struggle with low self esteem. I was perceived as an introvert who likes to stay in her own cocoon. But I had a secret habit of dreaming big. I would visualize myself being great communicator, confident, fearless, courageous, and it all worked out wonderfully. Today, I am exactly the same person I once visualized for, and it would have been a shame if I would not have shared this secret with you all. Unconscious competence is available for each one of us to create the best version of ourselves and our lives. If I can do it, then you can too. All the best and thank you.